also feel like it's annoying when you are back home and everyone's talking to you about your goals or like what you've accomplished. Like, who are you? What's your purpose?
Right.
You know?
Like, I'm figuring it out, Mom and Dad.
I feel like we should all just collectively, as young adults, agree we're going to hit them back with a question of our choice. What are your goals? What have you been up to? You know what I mean? Like, we're all growing and evolving here. Why is it always got to be about me?
Facts.
You know, I've been seeing that you stress a lot.
Right. What are you
Like,
doing
what
to
are you doing
manage
to help
that?
that?
Call them
You
out.
know what I mean? Because it's like, why?
Right.
Why?
You want to cross this boundary and talk about life. Hello. It's a new year. Can you believe it's 2022? Can I even say it? 2022.
I honestly, for the life of me, can't believe that. And I kind of just, let's just call it 2022.
2022.
2022.
2022.
I feel like I blinked and from, literally 2019, all of a sudden it's 2022. And I really don't know how I feel about it. I really feel like I've been gypped of like 2 years of my life.
Right.
And everyone just wants to act like it's like normal and like everything's fine. And like, you know, we're all just doing our best. And I am mentally unwell, like low-key. And, you know, I'm not trying to be all serious here. Like, yes, we're all going through our like mental health struggles.
Yeah.
But like truly what we've experienced in the past 2 years, what was the Spanish influenza the last time people, our society, like experienced something like this?
I swear.
I want to be able to talk to those people and like understand their brain and be like, how long after the fact did you feel normal?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what struggles did you go through? And we're just jumping right into it. Like,
right.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. You like the new format?
I know.
It's good to, like, see you.
I know. I'm like, how do you guys feel about it? Like,
right.
New year, new shit.
Yeah.
We wanted to, you know, make a video version of our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're already just listening on, you know, Spotify, Apple, you're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Go on over to YouTube and you'll see exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
We're posting our podcast episodes on YouTube from now on. So, you know, depending on what you like, do what you want to do.
Right.
If you want to listen to us on the road, obviously you can't be watching the video.
Mm-hmm.
You could listen to us on your favorite podcast streaming platform. But if you have some time and you want to kick it and you want to, you know, see our facial expressions,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is the way to go.
Yes. I'm super excited about it. I'm enjoying this setup, so I hope the people like it too. Comment down below, you know, if you are feeling this new setup that we got going.
Like video podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually really interested to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love watching them. I feel like it's fun seeing their like facial expressions.
Yeah.
But I also like the option of being able to listen to them if I'm like, you know, doing errands and maybe I don't want to watch the video.
For sure.
Like, I love having that option. It's fun for me.
Mm-hmm. And I like the video podcast too, because it's like you can, just like a regular podcast, you can be doing something, check back in, look at our faces, you know what I mean? It feels more like even more connected, I feel like. And I love connecting with other people. A different type of
sense is being used.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like speaking about the new year as we were talking, I don't know why, but I genuinely do have a really good feeling about this year. And maybe we've just been in quarantine for so long that like any little thing makes me feel hopeful.
Yeah.
But even just like the new year, I'm like, great things can happen. Meanwhile, you know, it's a shit show. Like outside of this parameter, you know, outside of like our personal lives, I feel like the world is in chaos.
Absolutely
and like
chaos.
more so America.
Yeah.
So maybe I've just learned to like tune that out even more.
Yeah.
You know, responsibly, not to the point where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, I know what's going on just enough to the point where I'm still like capable of doing the things that bring me joy.
Yes.
But also I have moments where I see something on Twitter or, you know what I mean, I hear about something on the news and I'm like, oh shit, like shit's getting crazier out there.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. And I feel like it really is. to me, I feel like tensions are so high right now, and I just feel like something has to break. And I also am enjoying this, new Capricorn season energy because I feel like for me, it always makes me feel like fresh and new again. You know what I mean? It makes me feel hopeful.
I mean, that's the reason I feel like it is in the new year. Like, Capricorn energy is the prime energy for what are your goals? How can you be better? You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes it can be a lot. And I always say this, I feel like it's such bullshit when people are like, new year, new me. I don't want to, like, make people feel shitty if, like, that's what they do. But I genuinely feel like if you want to make a change, you'll make a change when you feel like making that change. Yeah. Like, a date on a calendar is not going to all of a sudden make you act brand new. Yeah. Personally.
No, I feel that. But why then do I always feel literally every Capricorn season? Like, maybe it really is just in January because it's also because of all of the hype and capitalism and stuff. Because I feel like around January 1st, well, let's be real, between December and New Year's, like those 7 days don't exist. Like they don't matter.
Like, nobody, like far away from reality. Like, what is happening in those 7 days? Like, nobody knows.
No, exactly.
You can't take shit too seriously.
Right. So then I feel like January 1st, I'm like, oh shit, like, I want to do new things and I feel like I'm a new person and I feel like Capricorn, like very, I don't know, gives me this very judgy energy of like, yeah, get your shit together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Daddy Saturn is like literally on your ass like, hey, you pathetic bitch. I know what you were up to in December during Sag season, hoeing it out. But now it's time to get it together and like reel it back in. And that's why I feel like it is actually the worst placement of New Year. I'm Persian, so my New Year is the first day of spring, the spring equinox. Like, I feel like that shit is just on point for me. It's also the first zodiac sign, Aries. That makes more sense. That's also on the, the New Year as well. So it feels right to me in that sense. But I feel like this New Year's especially doesn't make sense because, like, you do all this wild shit in December, and all of a sudden you're supposed to get your shit together. You know what I mean? In January, like, it seems like it's almost impossible. Yeah. Like, you need a little break from all that, like, partying and, like, you know what I mean? Saying fuck it all and just, like, literally letting loose. Everyone's, like, drinking every fucking day. You know what I mean? Right. But then you have to get it together. Like, we need a filler season in between. No,
it's so true. And I feel like, even though we just talked about those 7 days not really, us not really existing during those 7 days, that's not enough because you've been around your family. You know what I mean? We've talked about all the stuff you have to process after that.
To get over the family stuff. I know it's not just me. Like, we all love our families. Maybe some people don't love their families, but they still feel obligated to be there because they feel guilty. More power to you. But I feel like even when you do love your family, there is something really, really odd about being around them for that long again. And we've talked about this in other podcast episodes. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be around them, but also it feels weird, and also capitalism. We blame, like,
everything.
99% of things on capitalism, and truly, you give me a problem, I can relate it back to, capitalism and why it's capitalism's fault.
I mean, capitalism is to blame for everything,
It really is. But anyway, so, like, we talked about how throughout the year, because you're so busy and overworked, you don't see the people you love that often. So when you do see them during the holidays and you're kind of forced to be around them, you kind of have this, like, guilt. And it feels weird, like, okay, time to catch up. Like, this is what I've been up to. Yeah. And everything usually ties back to, like, work usually. Or whether, you have a spouse. All these things that are very stressful. So, obviously, when you're done during this break, after this break of being with your family, you need another break to recuperate. Yeah.
Totally. And I feel like another really annoying thing, and I don't know if other families do this, but, because it's the new year coming up, they're like, oh, okay, so what are your goals, like, for the new year? Like, what are your resolutions or whatever? And then it makes me think of what I, like, promised myself in the beginning of the year and how I personally, can lack that consistency sometimes. So then it makes me feel really shitty.
No, I hate
and
that.
then it comes back to that, judgy daddy Capricorn being like, well, get your shit together. Yeah. So I feel like that energy also makes me irritated and a little stressed. And again, I feel like on January 1st, or really the 2nd, let's be real, we're all, right? We're all hungover the first day of January, so no plans are really, really being made. But I feel like
if you do shit January 2nd, are you Miss Trunchbull? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you so fiercely productive?
Right, like, for why?
Relax. And this is coming from a Capricorn rising.
Yes.
Relax on January 2nd. How about that? Relax.
Take a walk.
Make me feel better about myself. Relax. I feel like January 2nd, you really should just be focusing, like, mentally on the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Not, like, actually doing them.
No.
Get yourself ready for that time.
Yes. Start making your lists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, checking them twice.
Absolutely. And yes, I also feel like it's annoying when you are back home and everyone's talking to you about your goals or, like, what you've accomplished. Like, who are you? What's your purpose?
Right.
You know?
Like, I'm figuring it out, Mom and Dad.
I feel like we should all just collectively, as young adults, agree we're going to hit them back with a question of our choice. What are your goals? What have you been up to? You know what I mean? Like, we're all growing and evolving here. Why is it always got to be about me?
Facts.
You know, I've been seeing that you stress a lot.
Right. What are you
Like,
doing
what
to
are you
manage
doing to
that?
help that?
Call them
You
out.
know what I mean? Because it's like, why?
Right.
Why?
You want to cross this boundary and talk about lives. You want to talk about lives.
You want to talk about mothers. I can't. That's the thing, though. That's the thing about, like, growing up with people. You know what I mean? They get to see you throughout all your walks of life. You know what I mean? It's hard to not feel like that little kid again when you're around your older family members. It's so hard.
Yeah,
and, like, you
for
want to
sure.
be
It
taken
really is.
seriously. Like, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I feel like a lot of you guys can relate. You want to be respected and taken seriously so bad, and you want their approval so bad that you don't even think about the fact that, hey, you're doing it out here. You know?
Right.
Like, why do you still need their acceptance? Why do we still need their acceptance if we're taking care of ourselves or doing the best that we can do? Mm-hmm. You know? If you're coming back home to visit, it means, you know, you're doing well enough to be paying your rent somewhere else.
Right, for
you know,
sure.
Which to me, as a millennial in 2022, that's,
You're
in a
doing good
pandemic,
shit.
you're doing that shit. You're doing good shit. You should be proud of yourself. So I just wish we walked into those family dynamics during the holidays being sure of ourselves.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like, hey, you don't got to have that stress anymore. Like, you're killing it.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, definitely for sure in that sense. And I feel like, too, also, you know, we were talking about this earlier today of, like, so families, you know, we walk in and they know all this shit about us, but we know shit about them too, you know? And it's like, it's not to use that as armor, but it's like, I've watched you evolve, you know? And like, we need to be easier on ourselves because we have seen them evolve too, you know? And it's like, hey, like, let's give each other a little bit more grace here. Like, I'm not that same kid that I was. So I need you to show me a little bit of respect. And if you're going to disrespect me, maybe I should tell you about your parenting or your auntie ways or your uncle ways. You know what
Honestly,
I mean?
And maybe we're just speaking on the youngest kids because we're both the youngest.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 6. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't even know what it feels like to be the older sibling and just already have that confidence within you knowing you're a little bit older than your younger siblings. Like, I got life even though that's not always the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Someone can be older than you and not have their shit together. But I genuinely, being the youngest, have always felt like I had something to prove. You know? And, like, that can be really stressful. And, when I'm around my family, I do feel like sometimes all eyes are on me. Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
You know? And I got, like, hella people to answer to.
Right.
You know?
Especially because we're the youngest, you know what I mean?
So I wonder what it feels like to walk into a room and have all these younger people and be like, what have y'all been up to? You know, what have you guys been up to?
Yeah.
Tell me about your life.
Right.
You know?
Right. I wonder if that dynamic ever really does become fully even, though, in that sense. You know, like, will we always have that in the back of our mind? Like, oh, this is my older sibling. Like, I need to speak to them a certain way, or they're allowed to speak to me in a certain way because that's family and that's what we do. And I kind of hate that, but I also totally
know where it comes from.
Exactly.
Too, because they also, like, I gotta put some respect on their names. Like, they kept it together. You know what I mean? They had to grow up a little faster. Like, I understand that. But I do hate thinking about the fact that it might be like that forever.
Yeah.
I personally don't want that, you know? And I feel like the dynamics changed a little bit, definitely, because, you know, I have set better boundaries. I feel like boundaries are the biggest thing that you can do for yourself if you don't want that weird thing to be there. You know, like, they say something funny and they want to, like, play it off as a joke. You just hit them back with the, hey, that's not funny.
Right.
That hurt my feelings, and I'd appreciate it if you don't do that again. You know, instead of just laughing it off and, like, going to your room and crying later. Like, that's what makes a difference.
Right. Well, because they don't know either, you know what I mean? They need to learn.
Yeah.
You have felt this way for a while, but when have you ever really told them?
And I think that is the cool thing about our generation, and especially Gen Z, too, is that, like, we're learning to speak up. Yeah. You know? We're not just going with the, I'm going to respect my elders even if they disrespect the fuck out of me, embarrass me, make fun of me. You know what I mean? Ice me out. Like, all this shit.
Or just, like, not talk about my feelings, because I feel like older generations do that, too.
Don't.
Like, they don't want to talk about what's been going on. It's like, fuck that. I'm going to tell you how I feel. And I'm going to tell you that I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Truly.
Or also, I'll tell you when I do like it, because I feel like sometimes from those older generations,
they don't get positive reinforcement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Know?
The holidays, what makes it so special is the fact that you get to spend it with your family and the people you love, but that's also what makes it the most stressful. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like, how often do we talk about, like, when there's a Friendsgiving, the vibe is just so easy compared to a Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's like, it would be so different if the holidays were always just spent with your, you know, chosen family and just your friends. But because there's always, like, your immediate family that's involved, when your immediate family's involved, shit gets a little real. No matter what.
For sure. Because they know you, and you know them.
Exactly.
So it gets tense.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think about it, but, like, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people that maybe get too stressed around their family, they probably, and they didn't set good boundaries, they probably loved, like, the pandemic in that sense, because, like, they could use the excuse of, like, oh, the CDC said I can't come. That's crazy.
No, that is so true. I was honestly just thinking that when you were saying it. I was like, fuck, like, it is a privilege, but then maybe it's very stressful for some people that, you know, more people got to go home and see their families this holiday season compared to last year. But
and then everybody caught COVID.
It's like a double-sided coin, you know what I mean? Because, like, going home to see family is stressful for a lot of people.
It is.
You know?
It really is.
I feel like in the movies they make families seem like, oh, they're so sweet and perfect and all this shit. And I feel like most families aren't. Like, everybody got their own shit, you know?
Shit. Okay, so me and Maya watched Home Alone the other week. Oh, God. And I was telling Maya, I'm like, something about this little kid being abandoned triggers me. Because, you know what I mean? To my core. And, like, it's so crazy that, like, Home Alone is, like, that movie. Like, that holiday movie. And, I mean, it's epic. I completely agree. Yeah. It's funny. It's amazing. It's just a classic. But the concept of it, I'm like, this lady is a bad mom. So's the dad. The whole family sucks, and they bully the fuck out of him. Right. They just keep leaving him. How does that happen? How do you just leave your child all the time? It triggers the fuck out of me.
Poor kid had to fend for himself.
I know. It's so sad.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, it was so sad.
It's really sad.
I kind of didn't want to watch it after we talked about
how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
Like, at least, like, the New York one I could get down with because he's in a city, he's exploring it, he's living his best life. But, like, Home Alone?
Yeah, like, the first one.
Fucked up. That was kind of a little depressing.
It really was.
At least in, like, you know, the New York one, he, like, goes on a limo, you know what I mean? He gets that room service.
Right, he gets a little bit more adventure. Lit. Yeah. So if anyone else felt sad watching that movie, we feel you.
Yeah, for real.
And know that we care about you.
I know.
And we wouldn't abandon you.
Unless you were annoying.
Okay,
then I would tell you, and then I would abandon you.
But exactly, I would let you know.
I never would. I'm not a ghoster. You know what I mean? We talked about this. Like, I love telling people exactly when they fucked up and, like, why I can no longer engage with them. Like, it's actually, like, something I'm very proud of myself for. Yeah. Like, I need to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just, let this be like we never knew what happened. I need to let you know, like, I don't like this. and you did this, therefore this is not what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, I also, what do you think as a ghoster?
As a ghoster,
what's your excuse?
Here's my thing. And I feel like we've talked about this before, too. If I like you, you know what I mean? If I respect you, if I feel like we really made a connection, I will say something to you.
Yeah.
But if you're just, like, annoying me and you feel like there's a vibe here and there's no vibe actually happening here, like,
so you've never ghosted someone that you liked? I feel like you've ghosted people you've liked before as your best friend.
That I really, really liked?
Yeah. Well, like, you fucked with, you know what I mean? Not just, like, newbies, but, like, maybe someone that annoyed you, like, you were mad at them, and you were like, I'm gonna ghost you. You know what I mean? Not, like, a nonchalant ghost. That's different than, like, you know what? I'm gonna prove a point, and I'm just gonna ghost.
Yeah. It's so hard to say, though, because I feel like the most recent people that I'm thinking of, I did let them know. Mm-hmm. And then they were, like, trying to have conversations, and I was like, no, I just completely...
blocked
all your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I am very much, like, I'll say it and then completely block you. Like, I'm not trying to have a conversation about anything. But I guess there probably were times where I was like, I liked you and I just ghosted you too. But I feel like they're not coming to the top of my mind. Because I do feel like if I really was fucking with you, I would be like, you hurt my feelings. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there were times. Because, you know, I'm a flirt. Did you see? And I'm actually really excited about this. Did you see that Meg Thee Stallion got a Netflix deal? A deal with Netflix?
I did not.
Yes.
Wait, what's going down? What is
she is going to be creating some shows, being an executive producer, just giving her creative ideas for a couple new shows on Netflix.
Wait, I'm so excited for
right?
this. But I want to know more.
I know. They've been really, like, hush-hush about exactly what is happening. So, like, they said executive producer on some stuff. Is it,
like, I wonder if it's, like, reality or, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or, like, a drama or, like, some type of, you know, other type of show that we like to watch, like a comedy or something. I don't know. Who knows what it'll be?
For real.
Maybe a competition, like, you know how they did, was that not Hustle and Flow? You know, the Netflix one with Cardi B and T.I. And
that show was fun.
That was cool.
Or like a dancing one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, remember that show? It was like, was it called Girlicious? Or even the next Pussycat Doll.
Oh,
like
yes,
those shows.
yes.
I miss those shows.
Right.
I loved seeing shit like that. Like a girl group vibe or like, you know what, the next best dancer. Like something like that.
Right.
That show would be fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Either way, I'm super excited for whatever it is that she may be putting out because I feel like I love her and I love her artistry, and, you know, we saw her in concert one time. I just feel like I'm very excited to see
the energy's there, the creativity is there, and I feel like she's so hard to, like, box into one category. Like, I feel like no matter what she does, she kills it, so I'm excited to see what she does, you know, with Netflix.
Exactly.
You know?
And I'm just...
in the film industry.
Yes. I'm so here for women getting multiple revenue streams.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Saweetie's doing it.
Right.
Beyonce's been doing it. I mean, a lot of people been doing it.
Right.
But I just love to see it.
Yes.
And I feel like, I don't know, like, I mean, female rap has always been at the top of its game. Mm-hmm. But now more than ever.
Yes.
I feel like every female rapper is literally killing it.
Mm-hmm. 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 And I feel like, yes, there are just so many great female rappers out right now, and I just love seeing Black women win. You know what I mean? Like, when I saw this, I was just so excited because I love to see more Black people being able to creatively express themselves. You know what I mean? Like, representation fucking matters. Yeah. It really matters.
And, like, honestly, even just with, like, Issa Rae and Insecure, she created a show that will literally... change lives. Yes. You know what I mean? Has changed lives.
Yes. Oh.
And the casting was amazing. And I know she's not done. She has her own production company too.
Oh shit.
And like, honestly, I just can't wait to see what else she does as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like, Insecure ending was like an end of an era to me.
An absolute era.
And I'm just excited to see what else she does because she literally did that so perfectly.
For real. Oh my gosh, the character development.
Yeah, y'all, you know what was wild about Insecure ending? Like, Insecure ending was obviously emotional for everyone. But, you know, if you watched Insecure, you know what we're talking about. The ending was just so emotional, especially her moment with Molly. And, you know, me and Maya, obviously, like, Waterworks, like, watching it. Afterwards, Waterworks. And then I remember texting her right before I fell asleep that night. I was like, oh my God, like, do you know why this is even extra special and just emotional? Our first YouTube video ever was about Insecure. Like, I don't know how long some of you guys have been here. Obviously, you know, we have a lot of YouTube videos, and, you know, we jumped around trying to figure out what we want our YouTube channel to be about and, like, what we want to talk about. All we knew is that, like, we wanted to express ourselves, you know? And I just remember being like, let's just talk about Insecure and let's talk about ghosting.
Yeah!
That's what I want to talk about! Oh my God! It was about ghosting because, you know, it was when, like, Nathan ghosted her ass.
Right. Oh,
and
my
we
God.
felt so passionately about that. You know what I mean?
I bet if I watched that video back, I would say exactly what you asked me earlier.
For real. I'm like,
we should go back and watch
we should go back and watch it. Watch me be like, I ghosted people. Right. I feel like when I was young, I probably did. No,
I feel
we
like
all
we
did
all
when we were younger.
You know what I mean?
But, like, now I just can't.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to get back into that. We could talk about ghosting for hours, apparently.
We really could.
But it was just wild because I remember, like, you know, that being our first video on YouTube.
Yeah.
And if you're a content creator or even if you're just an artist, you know what it feels like the first thing that you put out for the world to see. And, like, the fact that that was our first video and we felt so passionately about that show enough to, like, talk about it and put our opinions on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, that felt so special to me. And Insecure ending, you know, a couple weeks ago, like, that full circle moment, it just meant a lot to me. And it's wild because our first video was at the beginning of Insecure. You know, was at the beginning of... Our first video was about Insecure, and now Insecure ended, and we're posting our first podcast video.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
It's so wild. It's so sweet.
It is.
I also really just enjoyed Insecure so much because I feel like I personally was in a really shitty relationship when it first started and, you know, wasn't in a very good, like, headspace. And I just kind of felt like I grew with them, you know, and to see how much they changed and... some of them changed, you know, and I feel, I don't know, it was just really good for me, you know, it was very like,
it was therapeutic, it was
therapy. That's the word I was thinking of, therapeutic,
people,
thank you.
You know, express their raw emotions and, like, really go through it in life and try to make a name for yourself while you're going through it in your personal relationships. Yeah. And I feel like something about that, you know, everybody can relate to that as young adults. Like, you really are giving your all to, you know, make yourself proud, make the people around you proud, but you're also really going through it with your interpersonal relationships. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of setbacks that comes with that when emotions are involved. Yeah. But you just keep on persevering and you just keep on nourishing these relationships in the hopes that they'll, you know, survive. Yeah. And that's exactly what that show was about. And it wasn't just about surviving, it was about thriving. Yes.
Oh my God, I'm just gonna cry thinking about Molly and Issa.
I know. That was the real love story.
For real.
Like, truly, that was the real fucking love story. And the season, well, this wasn't gonna be like an Insecure, like, recap, but it is. But the season when they were, you know, not in the best place with each other, like, I think that hurt me more than when her and Lawrence were fighting.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it hit different. And I just wanted them to fix it so badly.
Yeah.
And it was just so crazy to see how much they were not speaking the same language during that whole entire season. So seeing them together in the, you know, series finale, it was really everything.
I know. I remember at the end of season 4, we were like, fuck, like, are Molly and Issa gonna make it? Like, shit seems bad. Shit seems bad.
And it just kept getting worse.
I know.
And that's why I love that show. Like, it was not, you know, Issa Rae was not afraid of showing us the ugly sides of life and relationships and friendships. And just when you got your win here, oh, you got a loss there. Like, you just can't seem to keep it all together. Yeah. You know, something about that felt very real.
It is. It's so fucking real. Like Sarah said, I just feel like Molly and Issa's... adventure and friendship was the real love story. And I loved Issa because, yeah, she knows when to put a pause in, you know what I mean? And like, it is very dramatic. It is very real. Like, people need time to think, and there aren't always immediate answers, and people are awkward. And I don't know. The show is just so real, and I felt so seen by all of the characters. You know what I mean? Like, for who I am as a woman in the world, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what other show's gonna top
I
it.
know!
Like, I really don't know. And like, well, you know what? This is the first video podcast, so I feel like I'm gonna share something special with you guys. So, okay, so obviously, you know, we both been into Insecure. Mm-hmm. We didn't always watch every episode together until the later seasons.
Yeah.
But, you know, on this one evening where me and my bestie were kicking it, and, you know, we decided to partake in a little adventure down in Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm. we were just walking down Trippy Road.
Yes, you know, with some magical fungi. And, you know, we, you know, did that. And, you know, I'm a Scorpio, so I love to keep my secrets. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. I love my secrets. And this is just, like, a natural thing for me. I don't, like, sit there. I'm like, I'm going to keep this secret. Like, some things I just don't share with people. But for some weird reason, when I'm all emotional on my little trip, I'm like, Ma, I have something to tell you. And she's like, what, Sarah? I'm like, you have to promise that, like, you know, you won't judge me. And that like, you're not gonna like,
she's like,
be
don't
weird
freak
about
out.
it. Yeah,
don't be weird.
Like, when people get weird, I get annoyed. You know what I mean?
And like,
not like,
on,
oh my God, you're weird. I mean, like, don't give me that reaction.
Right, but me not give her the reaction. Come on, guys.
No, like my Sagittarius bestie is just literally gonna like give the most dramatic reaction.
I'm like, okay, tell me.
Oh my God, I can't. So I'm like, okay, and this is like when Insecure had like 4 seasons, right? Or if not 5.
Yeah, 4.
4, right? Okay. And I was like, I've never watched the first season of Insecure.
And of course I immediately flipped out.
She's like, what? What does that even mean? I'm like, I never watched it. I like just started watching it after season 2 because like that's when, you know, you were watching it, everyone was watching it. So I just like didn't realize I needed to watch it. I already know what happened in season 1.
Right.
And, you know, me being an emotional person, I was like, I know what happened in season 1 and I don't want to watch it. It seems really sad and I don't want to partake in that. I already know what happened. And while we're tripping, she literally is like, we're going to watch the first season. When I tell you guys, like, I don't even know how to describe this to you. Imagine watching a show, right? But just not the first season. And you know everything and you get to experience the first season on shrooms.
Right. Also, I need you guys
I just have to
know.
say, we live in California and shrooms are legal here.
Yeah.
So
worry
don't
about
be
yourself.
weird. Yeah. Don't be weird.
Okay. And we are adults.
We are. And like
Okay.
I said, it's legal. And it's also really good for your mental health. I'm not condoning shroom usage.
For 18 and older.
Yeah.
Maybe like 21
Consult
and older,
your
really.
doctor.
Yeah. Not me. Not professional medical advice. Oh, I just have to say, as your best friend, how funny that was for me, because I feel like I knew we had watched the rest of the seasons together, you know what I mean? And she acted like she knew.
I mean, I did know.
And she did know, like you could put 2 and 2 together, but she didn't know. You know what I mean?
I wonder what that felt like for you. Like
I
how
was
did you even understand
tripping.
that concept?
I didn't. I was like watching you watch it, I was like,
yeah, because I was experiencing the first season for the first time.
Yeah, I know.
It was so wild. And honestly, like, I wish I would have just watched it when I had the opportunity to, because watching that shit in that state of mind, I was even more emotional. I was a mess. I was a whole ass mess.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I started relating everything, you know, to it, because, you know, when you watch shows sober, you relate everything back to your life.
Yeah.
But watching that shit under the influence,
Extra.
you relate it back even more. You're
Extra.
like, oh my God.
Right. It doesn't help that I'm like doubling down on it. You know what I mean?
I know. Like, she's literally like, every time a crazy scene will happen, she looks at me. She's like, did you see that? What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
So what do you think about that? Does that make sense with like this?
I'm crying.
I felt like I was double computing all the time.
There's just something about Insecure. We have this karmic connection.
We do. You guys, when I tell you I bawled at the end of that episode,
same.
like ugly cried.
Same. And Molly
ugly
looked so beautiful.
Oh my God,
Her
I'm
wedding.
gonna cry right now. I'm being dramatic, but I will.
So sweet.
It's so sweet. Goodbye to Insecure. I feel like it also taught me to like be more okay with goodbyes. You know what I mean? I feel like goodbyes are really hard, and like ending things are really hard.
That's nice.
But it was really like
I can never be okay with goodbyes.
Beautiful.
I hate goodbyes.
I hate goodbyes too. That's
why I hate change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a fixed sign, I hate it.
Yeah.
Even though I try to be on evolving. Like evolving is great actually, but like change, I hate it. Because I just find so much comfort in the things that I know and love.
Yeah.
And the concept of change and goodbyes, like, it makes me feel like I won't have those things that bring me comfort anymore. And I hate that feeling. I want to suck those things dry of my, you know what I mean? Like, give me everything I need. You can't ever leave me. But you can, and it's okay, and I'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that's why I felt like, you know, like mature, you know? It's like, damn, like.
Yeah, it did feel like a very mature goodbye.
You know,
that,
it
like,
did.
It wasn't a ghost.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It's like we said bye to each other.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Love you so much.
Love you.
Thank you for a great 6 years of life.
No, actually.
You know? And many amazing conversations.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
Because I feel like, I don't know, with any show, I don't know how you guys feel, but whenever I watch any show with friends or my boyfriend or, you know, people, I love having that dialogue with them about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And with Insecure, because it was about people's personal lives and their relationships, I feel like those conversations were so interesting.
Yeah.
Understanding how the people that I'm watching it with feel about the same situation. Like,
yeah.
you know, or what they see, like, from their perspective. And sometimes I don't see someone else's side. Like, let's say I was on Molly's side and someone else was on Issa's.
Yeah.
They can tell me why they're on Issa's side, you know, and I could explain to them why I'm on Molly's side. And, like, that was so interesting because I learned a lot about, you know, just friendship and boundaries and self-respect.
Yeah.
And also just, you know, going through it.
Yeah. No, I feel like Insecure allowed a lot of people to start conversations that maybe they weren't having before. You know, like, I feel like we talk about this stuff a lot, but it was cool to see, you know, characters that we love so much and, like, get really involved in their lives too.
Absolutely.
I just absolutely loved it.
And
best show ever.
Literally. I don't know if you saw, but it came out that apparently, this is allegedly, I'm not 100% sure, but I saw it on Twitter, my favorite form of news.
Fact.
That apparently when Issa Rae first pitched it, she pitched it to BET. And they said, yeah, we love the concept, but we would love the lead to be Lauren London, like someone like Lauren London. I don't know if they said specifically her or someone like her. And that's wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy that she said no. I mean, it's not crazy. I love that she said no.
Yeah.
And she stood her ground. But then she went to HBO, which is like, I feel like a few steps above BET, right? In terms of film production.
Oh, for sure.
And, you know, they went with her. And I love that. Because, like, I can't imagine anyone else playing the lead role of Insecure other than Issa Rae.
Yeah.
I really can't.
No. Me either. And, you know, I hate that they did that BET did that. But another important thing that I really loved about this show is that we never saw, like, police brutality. You know what I mean? We never saw any killings. Like, that was never, like...
That wasn't the premise of the show.
Of
just
Insecure.
because it's
you know what I mean?
All black and, you know what I mean, people of color cast.
Exactly.
Because usually that is what it is. Like,
exactly.
they always somehow tie something really tragic into the story.
Yeah, it's either about fucking slavery, police brutality, you know what I mean? Like, when do you ever really just get to see black people, like, living and existing
life
and being creatives? Like, Insecure allowed that to happen.
Honestly, and it's crazy because I feel like not a lot of white people watch that show. And maybe it makes them uncomfortable. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But maybe they're like, I don't know. I can't relate. But, like, look at all these wife shows that we have to watch.
Right.
We find a way to relate. Like, maybe you could learn something from this. And I just wish, I told you this, when those scenes would be happening. During certain seasons, they would be, you know, at these, like, startup settings with, like, a bunch of white people acting like how white people act in professional settings.
Yes.
Which is really weird. And I just wish white people would watch Insecure and experience those scenes so they could see how they come off.
Right.
You know, to us brown and black people.
Yes. Because they did do a really good job.
It's so true. I'm like, bro, like, why are you being like this? Why are you being so weird?
Yes.
Like, they think they're being inclusive, but they're actually, like, making you feel so uncomfortable.
Right. It's like, thanks for making me the token black person or brown person.
For real. Thanks. All right. So the last thing I kind of want to talk about on this episode kind of reminds me of Capricorn energy, actually, which is the inner critic that we have in our head. That voice that makes you think, you know, you're just not good enough. And I want to talk about our experiences with it, because I feel like a lot of us know personally that we deal with that voice, but we don't talk about it often out loud with people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talk about our insecurities, but we don't talk about the specifics of this voice in my head makes me feel like I'm incompetent.
Yeah.
Or that I don't deserve shit. Or that, you know what I mean, what I'm doing is never good enough. And it's wild because psychologically, you know, this voice I've read, you know, I've learned through my learnings and self-help books that this voice comes from, you know, actually the adults that were around us when we were young children. We heard about how hard life is, or how it's hard, or you know what I mean? It's difficult to have an easy life, or it's difficult to do the things you want to do. And that, like, you know, life is just meant to be hard.
Yeah.
You know, and we experience our adulthood through their beliefs, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though those weren't the beliefs that we were born with. And that nagging voice in your head, it's wild because it's the sound of our own voice. So it feels like we're talking to ourselves, and that's our belief about ourselves. So that's why it gets, I feel like, really confusing, because it does just sound like you, and it does sound like you're talking shit to yourself and putting yourself down, but essentially it's not you.
Yeah.
It's the adults that you were surrounded by when you were younger, and you took in their insecurities about life.
Oh. That's so sad, but that also makes sense. You know what I mean?
Because it's impressionable when you're a kid. You know, you're like a sponge. You're soaking everything in.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, people don't come into this world being pessimistic. You know what I mean?
You're
like
hopeful. You're joyous.
You're
you're excited.
You're usually taught that in some type of way. So that is very interesting, because I feel like, yeah, when I think about the inner critic voice in my head, like it's mean, and it's always telling me to, like, work harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I think about it, yeah, like, I hate to say it, but my parents were always pushing me to, like, work harder and do better. You know what I mean? And that can be toxic, you know what I mean? As we're seeing now in society, right? It's like a very capitalistic way of thinking. Like, I don't have to work so hard to, like, make a living wage. Like, I shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or, like, life isn't meant to be hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's something that I feel like I have a hard time dealing with the most, is that I have this idea in my head that in order for me to be happy and successful, I have to go through a phase of, like, hardship, just pure hardship.
Yeah.
And that's not right, and that's not true. You know what I mean? Like, you get to have a nice, joyous, fulfilling life, and you know what I mean? Have the journey be also somewhat easy. Like, it doesn't need to feel like you're dying to finally get the things that you deserve.
Right.
You know, and I hate that I have that belief, and that's what it comes down to, is like how badly you want to change. Like, you have to do the work, and you know, I meditate, or I journal, or I try to tell myself affirmations that are the complete opposite of what the voice tells me in my head. And like, that's the way to do it. Like, there's no other way to reprogram your brain other than literally feed yourself positivity.
Yeah.
But it just sucks that not enough people have the resources to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I learned about this shit through the internet. You know how many people in the world don't have internet?
Oh, for sure.
And if people don't have internet, they definitely don't have the money for therapy.
You
know what I mean?
Nah.
You know what I mean? So it's so sad to me. And maybe just even us talking about it on this podcast, maybe certain people, they've never heard about this, but like, you can reprogram your brain and you can make that voice inside your head have a different tone and have a different message, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's one of our biggest, you know, goals as like humans, you know what I mean, is to try and unlearn those concepts or values that were pushed on you
negative
that you
patterns.
Don't really necessarily agree with, or like that negative think, you know what I mean, that negative talk. Like, if you also feel yourself just generally being more of an optimistic person, but then your inner voice is like really hard on you, like, don't you think that's a polar opposite? Don't you think that something's kind of off there? I mean, I didn't always, you know what I mean? It took me a long time to kind of like come to that realization, and I didn't even know that, you know, exactly what you said earlier, that inner voice really comes from like adults and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, we always say, like, parents really fuck you up, you know?
Yeah,
and not even just parents, it's
not
family.
Always your parents, too.
It's
I do want to
family.
make that point.
Yeah.
Like, it can be family. It can also be your teachers. Like, for me, I had a lot of teachers because, you know, I was an immigrant, so I didn't understand English when I first got here. I literally had to skip 2 grades because I was, you know what I mean, an immigrant coming in from like another country besides my own home country, you know what I mean, trying to survive out there. So coming here, I was, you know, trying to catch up with the students that were my age, and I had teachers be really negative towards me. And I know that's where a lot of my negative self-talk comes from too. So it's not always your parents, it's really the people that the adults that you were around and that you just wanted to be accepted by so badly. Yeah. You know?
Authority figures really in general. Not Yeah, that's a good point.
And you carry that with you through your adulthood too, to your jobs. You know what I mean? When you have those negative experiences with teachers or even authority figures such as your parents or whatever it may be, you get anxious when you go to work. You know what I mean? You fuck up when it comes to a project, you think the world is ending. And it's like, that's just your job. You're a whole other person besides who you are at work. Like, don't let that have so much power over you. But it's easier said than done because your early experiences with authority figures were so scary and they had such a negative impact on your self-talk that you just give so much power away to them.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like, too, a lot of people are often just, like, existing in the world. You know what I mean? It has to take, like, a conscious level to say, oh, okay, I see this as a problem and this is negatively affecting me. What could this be coming from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's an additional step where, hey, this is what I've been taught, this is what I've been told, and this is how I go to work, and this is what I do every day now. You know what I mean? Or this is just how I treat people. And it is kind of like robotic because you are just going through the motions. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I understand why it could be harder then. You know what I mean? Because it's like you literally never saw those examples. And like we said, you may not have access to the internet or to like these other types of things to tell you about mental health and how this negative talk can have a really negative effect on you.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the thing. Like, I feel like, as we said, everything can tie back to capitalism. Capitalism, you know, takes away all your free time. You know what I mean? Even if you do feel like you have this problem and you want to fix it, it is literally pushed down all the way to the bottom of your priorities list because you are just living to survive. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have time to think about yourself, how you can better yourself, how you can evolve. People barely have time to, like, work out sometimes. You know what I mean? Which is, like, the easiest form of, you know, evolve or, you know, changing for the better. Yeah. Because you're just moving your body. Where I feel like mentally changing yourself can be even more difficult than physically changing yourself. It takes more time. It takes more patience. And I feel like in a capitalistic society, you don't have that time and you don't have that patience with yourself. You are so stressed out by work and you have so little time that, you know, like I said, you're just barely surviving. Yeah. And it's sad. Yeah. Because the world would be such an amazing place if everyone, I mean, I'm going to sound like such a, like, annoying, like, oh, the world would be such a better place if we all just baked cookies. And, you know what I mean? Like, but what I mean is, like, if we all just really loved and valued ourselves. Yeah. Because then we can express ourselves freely, you know? We were all put on this earth for some purpose. But when we're overworked, we don't have time to reconnect with ourselves. We don't know what we were put on this earth to do because we're too busy working. And that's just, it's sad to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we all deserve to tap into that creativity. We all deserve to better ourselves so we can grow in so many different ways.
Yeah. It just makes me mad. I was just shaking my head because it just makes me feel like the system won in that sense. You know what I mean?
Like that.
That's exactly what they want because, again, I always say this, we're easier to control when that happens. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want us to be thinking on our own and, like, expressing how we feel and doing what we love and doing what we need to do to make ourselves feel good because when we do that, we know that we want better and we deserve better.
And we ask questions
Yeah.
about why we don't have what we want.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you're overworked, you don't even have time to ask questions. You just keep on pushing it.
That part.
You know?
That's also facts. You really don't.
It's sad.
It is. It's stressful too, you know? I feel like for you as an individual. Because I feel like sometimes too, like, you feel frustrated, but you don't know why, and you don't know how to fix it. And I feel like that's stuff that I really hate.
Yeah, because you haven't reconnected with yourself in a long time. You know what I mean? Like, you are just living to survive. And that's the most soul-draining way to live, you know?
Yeah.
It really, really, really is.
Yeah, you gotta live and thrive.
You really do.
But it's easier said than done.
It is. And that's the thing. It relates back to, you know, that voice in your head and how it comes from adults around you. Like, a lot of people that are working, you know, corporate jobs, 9-to-5s, like, I bet you they have some amazing creative talent. And a small percentage of those people feel bold enough and courageous enough to go after their creative pursuits.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I want to say 80% of them, still have that nagging voice inside their head that's, you know, from an adult that said, you can't make money doing that. You need to become, you know, a lawyer, doctor, you know, businessman, whatever. That's where that voice comes from. Whereas if they were around people growing up that told them, whatever it is you want to do, you're going to be successful. Whatever it is that makes you happy, follow that through.
Yeah.
If we had people like that around us, maybe we would have gone after what we wanted a lot faster and easier, or maybe just went after it at all, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are still too scared to go after it because they don't think it's the responsible choice. Even though when you're doing what you're meant to do on this planet, you will be so much more abundant than you even realize or can even comprehend from working a regular job.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the universe aligns with you, magic happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And you're happier too. I feel like something that,
that's a given.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like authority figures always kind of gave me this impression that you do a job, you hate it, but you get paid.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, you don't fucking have boomers. Like, you hate your job, you better stay there. Oh, they're bullying you and they're taking advantage of you. You better stay there because when you quit, you're a quitter. Yeah, no shit. I want to be a quitter. This job sucks. Like,
right.
I don't want to stay there any longer. I know my value. They treat me like shit. I'm overworked. I'm stressed. I deserve better. And then boomers are like, no, you don't. I stayed at my job for 50 years and I was miserable and you should too.
Right.
Like, no, we are not the same. We are not the same.
Right. I'm just so ready for our generation to, like, rise up real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, demand stuff for us because we are the larger group now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if y'all didn't know, millennials, Gen Z, like, we got this shit. Like, we could be running this shit.
And
you
we
know?
should be. And
we really should.
Asking questions.
I'm excited for when that happens.
I'm seeing more and more creative people out here, and I'm going to be the first person when someone says, I have this itch to, like, just, like, follow my heart. I'm going to do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
I support you. Believe in yourself, and I'll believe in you. And that's all it really takes. Mm-hmm. And going back to authority figures, I think it's wild because when you are a creative, there are no authority figures.
Facts.
You are usually your own boss. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, like, it's crazy how in other jobs you have all these authority figures hovering over your head, and it literally makes it even more stressful. It's like, why the fuck would I pick that when I could be my own boss, do what I love to do, and be abundant doing it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And eventually have other people working for me with my vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the
I
ideal
always say
way.
that. I'm like, I was not put on this earth to work to make someone else's dreams come true.
Right.
I want to make my own dreams come true. And I hope you want the same for yourself because that's what you deserve.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching our first video podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
And listening if you're listening.
Yes, if you're listening. Happy freaking New Year.
Happy 2022.
Happy 2022.
Happy 2022.
The faster you say it, the better. Because, I bet this year is just going to fly by, too.
Actually.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Leave us a review on Apple or,
Yes.
Whatever platforms you're listening to. If you're watching on here,
YouTube.
Please give it a like, comment, send it to your friends. If you love our energy, if you love this vibe, share it with the people you love because that means the world to us.
Yes, it helps us out a lot, and we love to connect with you guys. You know what I
really
mean?
do.
So make sure you're commenting down below. Follow us on our Instagram. We're Charmedandangerous on there as well. We love you so much.
We hope this year is going to be as amazing for you as you want it to be.
Yes, kill the rest of cap season.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.